All right, we've got another interesting battle here in the AFC West between the Las Vegas Raiders and the Los Angeles Chargers. Both of these teams have been surprisingly good on offense, especially for fantasy purposes. Not anything we would have expected prior to the season. Justin Herbert has been the truth up to this point, and Derek Carr has been really good. Last week was a poor performance, but that was, I think, more so due to the wind rather than what we're actually expecting from this team. So this should be a high-scoring game. Vegas thinks so as well. 51.5 over/under. I think it's changed since then, but when I pulled up my research, this was actually a push right now. It's basically a pick 'em. Both teams implied getting about 26 points here. So I do think this is going to be a very good game for fantasy. We've got the Raiders giving up the 7th most points to quarterbacks the last 5 weeks, 8th most to running backs, 19th to receivers and tight ends, whereas the Chargers giving up the 3rd most points to quarterbacks, 6th most to running backs. Basically, it's been a fantasy bonanza for both of these teams. Obviously, the Broncos performed well against the Chargers last week. The Chargers keep letting big leads go, so even if the Chargers get up early, you can still expect this to be a competitive game. Raiders have been playing their divisional opponents well, obviously beating the Chiefs, giving the Chiefs their only loss this year. I think this should be a very strong performance for fantasy on both sides of the ball. Derek Carr is definitely a streaming person, a guy that you can trust streaming this week. Josh Jacobs did miss practice yesterday, but it looked like he was back today, so I think Josh Jacobs is going to be a strong start this week. Obviously, Darren Waller, strong start every single week. The real question is, who do you trust in this passing game? We've seen Henry Ruggs have some good games. Agholor starting to look like the wide receiver 1. Then last week, 0 catches. Hunter Renfrow had a good game last week, but when Agholor performs well, Renfrow is pretty much dust. So if I had to pick one, I'd probably go back to the with Agholor in this game. But Renfrow, probably the safer floor, even though his ceiling is probably pretty low. Agholor and Ruggs both give you a higher ceiling, but Ruggs has been pretty uninvolved the past couple weeks. It's kind of a coin flip at this point, so that's why I'm not recommending starting any of them. I guarantee you one of these guys will have a good game. I just don't know which one. So if you want to play Russian roulette with the Raiders receivers, be my guest. I'm just not recommending it, even though I know one of them will probably do well. Maybe 2 of them will, but as it's been thus far, it's pretty much been only one guy every week. On the Chargers side, we're starting everyone. We're playing Herbert. We're playing Justin Jackson. Josh Kelley has been pretty bad. Keenan Allen been one of the better receivers for fantasy purposes. You're going to keep playing him. Mike Williams gives you low floor, but a decent chance at a touchdown every single week. Then Hunter Henry has been underperforming for fantasy purposes, but I still think he's a good start this week. Pretty much playing this whole offense here. The Chargers offense has been very hard to stop. Even with Herbert throwing a few interceptions last week, still continuing to throw the ball deep down the field. This team trusts him. Herbert has been the truth up to this point. So I think this is going to be a good game. I like the Raiders in this one, but I think it's going to be a close game in the end. Got the Raiders 35 to the Chargers 34.